don't even believe Henry Kissinger fucked any of those women. No one in the 70s had sex. All they did was just like a man would be like naked in bed with his triangle tits out, smoking a cigarette and being like, "Oh, you're a pretty fast girl." And
No,
like, there's no P&V ever. No one was born in the 70s. It's a lost decade. People literally didn't know how to fuck because they just smoked wet grass that they thought was just fucking kill. They did shitty acid that was just like, it was like those dot candies. And because of peer pressure, they were just like, "Whoa, I'm far out, dude." They were all just fucking disgusting. All the men looked like shit. None of the women had sex with the men. If someone tells you they were born in the 70s, they're lying. Unless they were like Mormon or some type of Christian or Muslim or, a semi-adherent Jew. And even then, call it into question.
Henry Kissinger did have two very powerful pickup lines that would, work at Studio 54. One was, of course, they say power is the ultimate aphrodisiac. And then another time there was a woman asked him if he was a swinger, and he said, "In my position, I must pretend that I am not. But if you could assume that I am, it would be okay."
Oh my God. I bet, honestly, they thought it was the fucking Yellow River in there, the Yellow Wolf River in there. The way those pussies were flooding. When this man who's been old since 1931 said that.
Hey, man, Barbara Walters.
Well, no, I mean, what am I talking about? Every woman on my timeline is like, Davos C-word needs to bend me over. And he's a more handsome guy than Henry.
Davos C-word? What
he said? Yeah. He says a really, really misogynistic slur.
And
all
the girls
time.
still love him. I don't understand these women.
Stannis cut his finger off for saying that, but he was like, I still, used it in like a funny context. So you're a knight now.
Shout out to the actor who plays Davos.
Liam Cunningham.
Liam Cunningham. He's a big lefty in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And, if anyone knows him in Ireland, tell him to come to the Chapo show.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
You can hang out with him.
So don't tell him I used him as an example of like an old guy that women say they want to fuck.
I think you'd be happy to hear that.
Yeah. No, he's a handsome guy.
Listen to the backtrack. Craven.
If I was a woman, if I had a daughter and she was me, I would fucking.
So speaking of handsome guys that everyone wants to fuck, Felix, I thought we'd kick off the show today. Matt and I saw a film last night that we feel compelled to share with you or like tell you a little bit about.
Oh, you guys finally watched Mr. Hands.
Close. It's actually more soul-rending.
Oh, God.
Oh,
yes.
you saw The Adventures.
No, we did not see The Adventures. We saw a little documentary that is now available on Amazon called Who is Arthur Chu?
Awesome.
The documentary made about the meteoric rise of Jeopardy champion and Gamergate pundit.
No, he is
Arthur Chu.
everywhere. Like you can't go anywhere without seeing. Like he's on Times Square billboards.
Yeah, his
shit.
moment is definitely here. It has not passed at all.
No, it's good to take like 17 years to make a documentary.
Yeah.
Because in that time, about one guy.
Well, here's the thing. You might look at it, and I know when I heard this was being made, I thought, who asked for this? This is a terrible idea. And then it came out 2 years after, and just there could be nothing less relevant. But then we watched it, and I have to say, hand to God, it is riveting. It is one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. Not a joke. They get under the top layer of residue and moisture on Arthur and get to a deep, penetrating analysis of him that is fucking breathtakingly harrowing to experience.
Felix, it definitely had like very strong Adam Curtis vibes to this movie. Because picture this, Felix. Picture this, Felix. Some sort of like ambient, ominous, like industrial music track playing in the background as the camera tracks like Arthur just like gormlessly walking around like a convention hall, like giving lectures to progressively smaller and smaller groups of people.
Holy shit, this sounds good.
Yeah, it's got that Adam Curtis ambient dread, but then it's
this time I
also
said
got
Curvis.
Adam Purvis. Adam Curtis.
Wet Melvis. The famous documentarian Wet Melvis.
It's got that Wet Melvis sense of ambient dread, but then it has the fly on the wall, piercing observational incisiveness of like a Maisels Brothers movie. Like I felt like I was watching Salesman or something at some point.
I don't want to belabor go chew in on the Arthur Chu documentary, but like Matt, I think we should just share like each of our like what is like the one most memorable scene from this movie.
The thing is that it kept topping it.
Like
so
give me one or two.
Halfway through, there's a scene where he's having dinner with his father, and his dad is a austere Taiwanese immigrant who
and very serious Christian as well.
Very serious Christian who has raised three kids, two of whom he's clearly proud of, and one of whom he is deeply disappointed in Arthur, and he cannot withhold his contempt for his own son. And there's a scene where they have lunch, and it's just him sort of like criticizing him. Sort of not even sharply, but just because he can't think of anything else to say. So all he can think to say is like, you should talk more slowly when you do your speeches. Like that was his big feedback on his first big public speech to some like tech fuck conference, like Progressive Tech, epic fuck, lanyard con.
Buckle up, shitbirds, because we're about to go forward, not backwards. Yeah. Update your drivers, shit fucks.
Yeah,
because yeah, it's 2019 and people are equal, okay?
It was probably 2014, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
But so all he can think to do is say, you should speak more slowly. And then they just like these big, long, dead stretches, and they're barely talking. They can't make eye contact. And then finally the dad just goes, I have to go back to work. And he just cuts off the meal.
He ghosts Arthur halfway through lunch and pays for the meal, but leaves like almost a full plate in front of him on the table.
My God.
And he's just like, I got something at the office. I got to go.
And he's got a Chad brother.
Oh, does he really?
He's got a brother named Norbert Chu, who is not only a successful software engineer, he wanted Arthur to be, but also a good-looking dude. He within his own family, he is the virgin to his own brother, the Chad. It's astounding. And his brother's like, I don't really get what he's talking about all the time. It kind of doesn't seem to me like such a big deal, like what the video game girl boob size is. I know. I'm just trying to have a life.
Okay, well, people didn't like Van Gogh.
Yeah, he was chased by groups of children out of Arles.
Yeah,
exactly. He's very disturbed. The locals are very disturbed by him. And, the children would throw stones at him.
And look what he painted Mona Lisa, and he built the Louvre.
Dude, I'm so sad that the Louvre burned down.
Prayers up. Yeah, prayers up for the Louvre. Mona Lisa will never forget you. You're up there with Paul Walker and Jassé.
Just one quick thing, and then my favorite scene is like the other, like to me, the most fascinating thread in the movie is the portrayal of him and his wife. All I'll say is that the last end title card to the movie, like right before they roll credits, is the phrase "and now they are separated."
Yeah.
That's Herzog-y.
The keyhole view into his marriage is harrowing, but the scene I want to talk about that was my favorite scene of the movie is that after he's making an attempt to become like a sort of anti-Gamergate figure, he does a panel at a video game con that is held at the Gaylord Convention Center in National Harbor, Maryland.
One of the most beautiful hotels.
Yeah, one of the most beautiful hotels and convention centers in the world. And he gives a panel on toxic rage and gaming culture. This was at the height of Gamergate,
2014.
Yeah. And the organizer is just like, I want it to be known this will be a civil panel, and if you act up, I'm taking your lanyard away. So Arthur gives his spiel about Gamergate, and he's sitting next to a woman who's a university professor who writes about these things, but she looks also sort of into nerd culture. And Arthur does his spiel, and then there's one mic at this panel for some bizarre reason, and he hands her the mic, and she says, I don't know what to say about this other than I personally feel terrified to be in this room right now. And that says everything about Gamergate. So she says, I'm in mortal terror of the people in the audience. She says that. Arthur takes the mic back from her and goes, wow, okay, I'd like to open it up for discussion now.
He rocks.
He's
absolutely rocks.
Just no reaction at all. Yeah, so what about questions? And then his wife, the real footage is him and his wife. she is struggling. She's very unhappy. She has fibromyalgia. She's got a cane, and she does all the work in their house. She subordinates herself completely to Arthur's dream of becoming a notable figure, a salon writer about video games. And so she does the cooking and cleaning, and she gets his stuff while she's like walking around, hobbling around with a cane. And she'll just talk about how unhappy she is. And he just, like, there's all these scenes where she's either ironing or doing something and talking to him. And he's just lying on his back like an infant in a cradle, looking at his phone, making like monosyllabic responses. And then there's a scene, the other most harrowing scene in the movie is she is talking to him about how much she's struggling and how hard she feels like she doesn't have a purpose. She doesn't know what she's doing. And she needs, like, she basically wants some sort of acknowledgement of what's going on so that he can sort of help her. And he's across the table just staring at his phone. Doesn't look up for a second. Just poke a button and going like, yeah. And she's like, so what are you doing? And he goes, well, Steve wants to talk about a book project, so I might be doing that after Thanksgiving. And she goes, oh, great. Maybe I could help you with that. And he goes, do you need any help with that? And he goes, I don't think so.
And then she just goes, okay, I'll just continue to keep running support on my end.
Yep.
Okay, well, that's trad marriage. Alpha shit, dude. Fucking badass.
I highly recommend the Who is Arthur Chu.
Yeah,
check
movie.
it out. And again, if you think we're being too mean to Arthur or whatever, he did on Twitter at a public forum baselessly speculate that all of us are guilty of sexual assaults.
Yeah.
So fuck him. I don't care.
And you know what?
And it's like,
he's
you
an
know,
alpha.
like, yeah.
You just got fucking cucked, soy boy.
Dude, him
You
and
like that?
Him and Popat are two of the biggest alphas on Twitter.
Popat's fucking strong, dude. He's jacked. He's hot. He's a good lawyer. I like his. I've never read his blog. I'm just going to assume the stuff that's on there. Right? It's probably like, it's Friday, so it's time for Law Cats, and it's like, cats behind legal books, and there's like, a Latin, the Latin terms in law, like objectionist, and it'll just be like a cat being like, I can has amicus brief, and it's funny, and I like it, and he's not, a 6-year-old man who isn't that good of a lawyer. He's cool.
I mean, that is on his blog. The other content that was on his blog were the musings on teenage sexuality by an insane neo-Nazi.
All right, well, I don't know. I no longer contribute to his blog, so I don't know why you're bringing that up.
Yeah, so check out that doc. And also, just as a pro tip, never allow yourself to be the subject of a documentary
not a
that's
good idea.
about you unless you have Final Cut over everything that's in the
Yes.
film, because there's literally no way you will end up looking good.
All right, no, that's a good point, but can we sort of speed this episode along? I'm being interviewed by Isaac Chartner later.
So that's our a little film review to start the episode. But let's see what's going on this week. I guess a story that sort of came and went immediately was the New York Times got their hands on 10 years of Trump's tax returns from the 80s and 90s, and takeaway line: wow, his supporters are going to feel like shit when they find out actually he's a terrible businessman and has done nothing but lose money. Check and mate. So that's happened, and now Trump's support has cratered among.
He's killed himself. Donald Trump, as of the time of this recording, has shot himself in the mouth.
Because people know that he lost all that money in the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, I did see a statistic that for the years of those covered by those taxes, he lost more money than any other American taxpayer.
All right,
So that's kind of impressive.
Okay. But think about it, you're not thinking about this economically or business-wise or entrepreneurially.
I'm not good at that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you fucking honestly shit at it, and it's embarrassing to me as a professional slots player and businessman. But okay, so he lost the most money ever. That means he had it in the first place.
Well, it's sort of like he never lost $1.8 billion of his own money. It's just he caused that amount of losses for his various business ventures. Right. And then, of course, never paid. Just moved the debt around in such a way that, I mean, the real takeaway from this is just if you're rich, there is no such thing as moral hazard or debt or
rules or law
whatsoever.
or anything.
Yeah,
there's two separate realities and one is only accessible to the rich. That's the story here. It's not he's actually broke. He lived in a gold-plated castle in the sky and had a new trophy wife imported from Eastern Europe on the fucking like Fortnite. He was clearly rich personally. I remember
seeing an interview with Donald Trump like a long time ago, or no, it was an interview with Ivanka Trump. It was an interview with her like long ago before like there was any even speculation that he could become president of the United States.